Hey everybody, zjayfi here from Old School Gamers. Let's see, it is midnight on the 15th, and TU10 is about to go live here in about 2 hours. So I just wanted to do a quick video on some builds and what I'm thinking is going to be needed for the new raid, because we have about 2 weeks to get ready for the new raid, and so this is what I'm after. This is what I'm going to be going for, and so I want you guys to be aware of everything that you might possibly need. I went ahead and reworked my primary Dark Hours raid character to have what I think should be a decent start at the new Iron Horse raid. So we're going to take a look at some stuff that I definitely I think we're going to need. No one really knows what we're going to need, right? That's the interesting thing. Is last time everyone thought, oh, we got to bring skills, oh, we got to bring armor, oh, we got to bring unbreakable and healing and all this crap. But it turned out all you really need for Dark Hours raid was DPS. If you had 8 DPS players who were incredibly skilled, that was all you needed. Now there were parts where we needed to add jammers and stuff to compensate, but you know if you had a really, really good crew, technically all you needed to get through that raid as fast as possible was DPS. You needed to stack as much damage as possible. Um, Based on what we know about this new raid, I am thinking, and I'm not the only one, it's been the buzz among the Division 2 community for 6 months now that hazard protection is probably going to be needed in this raid in some form or another. We know that it takes place in a foundry. A foundry is a big metalworking facility where temperatures are known to run extremely high. Uh, it's against the True Suns. That doesn't tell us much. True Suns aren't really a status effect or hazard, poison type faction. That's mostly cleaners, hyenas, that sort of thing. So nobody really knows what exactly we're going to need. So what I did to get ready is I made various builds for every possible contingency that I could think of. This particular skill build right here is the current meta for legendary missions. It's extremely effective, and therefore we have reason to believe that this build would be also effective in the new raid if it's designed anything like the legendary missions. Now, obviously, there's going to be teamwork involved. There's going to be, a whole lot more switches and interactions and communication involved in this new raid. They've already told us they wanted it to be less blasty and more co-op stuff, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know if there's going to be 8 independent actions we're going to have to perform. If any of the leaks are true, then it could be possible that we're going to need to work together swapping eyes, which means we're going to have some sort of build uniformity. No one's really 100% sure, but this is the current meta in legendaries, and so this may definitely be something worth going after. I've got Spike on the rifle. You can also use the Perfect Spike LVOAC, but this one's better than the one that I have. The Sweet Dreams shotgun is for meleeing people. This is just there for show. I really wish they would do something with that. Pistols are completely worthless now that they don't have a holster talent anymore. Doesn't make any sense. Going with Technician for the extra skill damage. 3 pieces hardwired for the skill haste, skill damage. Don't really care about the repair skills. Optimally, what you would want here is 1-piece Wyvern and 2-piece Hannah U. But I don't have a Hannah U with tech support, so I went ahead and just took the hit. If you could have a Hannah U backpack in there, you would get 10% skill damage on top of 20% for regular tech support, which would be a 5% net increase for me, assuming all things were equal. I use glass cannon in mine. I hate this. That 6.6 is just there laughing at me, even though it's not a status effect build. I don't use status effects, but I want one with skill haste so bad in that slot. But whatever. Yeah, it's Wyvern, glass cannon, chest piece. So those are the 2 talents you want to rock, and the 3 pieces of hardwired. You want skill damage on every single piece. Every single piece should have skill damage on it. Alright, so this is just a max skill damage build in your drone. Duration, damage, health, And where's the turret? In the turret. Health, damage, skill haste. Duration would be fine in there also. I think I have skill haste just because the cooldown is slightly longer for this one, although I could be incorrect. No, they're both about 14 seconds. So stagger those if you're running this build. Anyway, that's the meta for legendaries. It could become necessary in this new raid to have something like that. Something else that I'm looking at. We all know that the new raid is going to require at least a good portion of the crew running DPS builds. We don't know about hazard protection. We don't know how much you're going to need hazard protection. Now, me and Byro were playing earlier today. We were talking about it. We were talking about 100% hazard protection builds, 75%, 50%, 25%. No one really knows how much you're going to need. No one knows what we're going to encounter there. So this build is a 50% DPS where it's exactly the same as a traditional DPS build. All I did was find pieces that had hazard protection or a place I could put hazard protection in, and I kept the critical hit damage, and I kept the damage to armor and the damage to target out of cover on the Fox pair of knee pads. This one's just a regular Vigilance backpack. But with the 10% from the watch, which I currently don't have, I'll have that filled up within 2 weeks. With the 10% from the watch, this build will have 50% hazard protection when the time gets here. Right? And it also has 40% crit damage and 155. Now keep in mind that the Coyote's Mask will increase those numbers dramatically past 25 yards, or at I believe it's 15 to 25 yards where most engagements take place. It will buff both of these in 10%. So that would be 55. That would be 50 and 165, which is perfect. That's right where I want to be. This is a solid amount of DPS in this build right here. And 50% hazard protection. I'm running the Fixer Drone and the Reviver Hive. This is exactly the same as the build we've been running. I just popped in 50% hazard protection. That's it. No difference. I'm thinking this is what I'm going to start the raid with. If it turns out that we need more hazard protection, I have a plan for that too. If I just need a little bit more, or I need a little bit more crit chance, I have this Cheska mask that I can pop in there. If it turns out, that I don't need this damage to armor, say, that the boss that we're fighting doesn't have armor, he's got a shield or something like that, then I have a nice pair of Fenris gloves that I can pop in there. Or if I need more critical hit damage, I've got, that's more critical hit chance. I can pop these in there also. But I believe I have some, what do they call it? Grupo Sombras with hazard protection. They might be in my stash right now. But either way, I have options here. If I want to go down, I can always go down. I could go back to the old full DPS build. If it turns out I don't need that 50% hazard protection, I can always go down. If I need to go up, the next tier up would be hazardous. Now this one is 5 reds and 1 blue, so it has a little bit more survivability, not a whole lot, but I've got this wonderful Y'all chest piece right here. And so I redesigned the build around Spotter and Companion to give me the damage talents, because I don't want to run Glass Cannon if I'm looking for a little bit more survivability from hazard, right? Or from damage. So this particular build, once I get the additional watch maxed out, is going to have 90% hazard protection. The way I'm running this is you run the Tactician Scouting Drone. That will pulse the enemies for you and give you the spotter damage. And since this drone will hover right over your head and stick with you the entire time, it will keep Companion procced. And there's a good duration on this drone. So I'm going to have 30% additional weapon damage on top of my 50 and 140 in this build. Right? Now, if I want to, I can pop the Coyote's Mask into this one get that additional crit, right? And I'd still be looking, I believe, at 75% hazard protection. 70%. Be looking at 70%. So I have different tiers. You know what I mean? If it turns out I need less, I need a little bit more, I can fine tune. And that's exactly what we've been looking to do, is figure out how much hazard protection we're going to need. And if it turns out, God forbid, we need 100% hazard protection, or survivability is a major issue, here's that same build, this time much less on the crit chance and crit damage, right? And it's much less on the damage because I'm running a whole bunch of blues. But this is a true hazard protection build. Once I fill out the watch, this will have 100% hazard protection. It does have a lot of armor because 511 pieces roll natively, and in order to max out the hazard protection, I had to modify that on the 511 pieces. But this could very much be, well, I guess it could be, theoretically be possible, but this would be a last resort. This build doesn't hit very hard, but it does have a whole lot of survivability. Once again, same thing, tactician, drone, spotter, companion, right? Same talents, just different pieces. One final thing I do want to talk about. Not everybody is going to be running different tiers of DPS. Something like a Vanguard shield build may be necessary. That's what this is right here. Now, if you're running something like this, you're probably not going to need a whole lot of hazard protection because you've got 1.8 million armor. I can't imagine them having something so strong that you're going to need copious amounts of hazard protection. But I do have a little bit in there, I believe. Maybe not. I just have armor regen. I have armor regen and 10% hazard protection. Although I do have some additional burn resistance in that mod right there. So if we end up needing something like this, I have this here. It's available. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys tonight. I just want to give you guys an idea of where my mind is and where I'm going. Oh, and we also may need crowd control. That's an option. I'm going to bring that along too when we go on these raids. Crowd control is getting a little bit of a nerf, but it is also going to be doing damage once we get that new exotic mask in there. So it'll be interesting to see how crowd control is affected by this new update that's coming out in about 2 hours. So let me know what you guys think. Say something in the comments. Tell me what you're thinking. Once again, I want to show you guys this one. This is the one I'm going to be starting the raid with. There are new talents coming out tonight. I may end up going with the new talent for the backpack, which is called Adrenaline Rush, I believe. And Adrenaline Rush is going to give us 27%, 25% bonus armor, or 20% bonus armor when you're within 10 meters of an enemy. It's going to work perfectly with Perfect Intimidate. And that may be an option for a blue style DPS build. I'm going to be working on that throughout the next 2 weeks. I will give you guys an update as soon as I get that build together. And yeah, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we start raiding. I will continue with the updates and let you guys know what I'm thinking and what changes I'm making as they happen. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great night.